You're 24 years old, sitting in your car in a Target parking lot at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday, and you just open the email from your student loan servicer. Payment due $730. Your checking account balance $891. Your credit card is already at $4,200 because last month your car needed new brakes, and the month before that you hit your health insurance deductible. You have a bachelor's degree that cost $95,000. You have a job that required that degree, and you're sitting in a Target parking lot doing math in your head, trying to figure out if you can afford groceries this week or if you need to wait until Friday when you get paid. This is not what they told you college would be like. This wasn't in the brochure with the students throwing their graduation caps in the air. Somewhere between the guidance counselor's office at 17 and this parking lot at 24, something went very, very wrong. And that person in the parking lot, her name is Alex, and today we're going to figure out exactly how she got here, why millions of people just like her are in the exact same situation, and what this entire system is actually designed to do. Because here's the uncomfortable truth: Alex didn't fail. The system worked exactly as intended. Let me take you back 6 years. Alex is sitting in her high school guidance counselor's office. There's a poster on the wall showing graduates mid-celebration. The counselor slides a glossy brochure across the desk. Everyone in the photos looks successful, debt-free, like they've figured out life. And then comes the pitch. College is an investment in your future. You can't succeed without a degree. The debt is worth it because you'll make it all back. Don't worry about the cost. Everyone takes out loans. It's normal. And she believes them because everyone believes them. Her parents believed it when college actually was affordable. Her teachers believed it because questioning it would mean their own degrees were mistakes. Society spent her entire childhood drilling this message in until questioning it felt like questioning gravity. So she signs the papers, she takes out the loans, she picks a major that sounds practical, marketing, and 4 years later she's got the degree. And now she's in that parking lot trying to figure out how to buy groceries. Here's the receipt. For a public university in your home state, the average total cost of attendance is now $112,000 for 4 years out of state. You're looking at $185,000. Private university, $230,000. Let me put that in perspective. $230,000 is a nice house in the Midwest. And those are just the averages. NYU's estimated cost of attendance is now over $360,000 for 4 years. USC is pushing $390,000. You are paying Lamborghini prices for a Zoom call, and those are the averages. NYU, $379,000 for 4 years. USC, $400,000. Harvard, $347,000. University of Michigan, out of state, $341,000. You're paying luxury prices for lectures you could watch free on YouTube. The average graduate who borrows leaves school with nearly $30,000 in debt. But that's just the average. Over 3 million Americans owe more than $100,000. The total student loan debt in America sits at $1.75 trillion. That is larger than the GDP of Australia. Let's talk about what that debt actually looks like in your life, because this is where Alex's story gets brutal. She graduated 2 years ago with her marketing degree and that $95,000 in debt. She landed a job everyone told her was pretty good, $52,000 a year in a mid-sized city. Her monthly loan payment, $730 for the next 20 years. Here's her actual monthly budget. After taxes, she takes home $3,400. Subtract the student loan payment. She's at $2,670 rent for a studio apartment because she's 24, and roommates are getting old. $1,100 down to $1,570. Car payment, insurance, gas to get to work, $450 down to $1,120. Groceries, utilities, phone, internet, the bare minimum, $650. She's at $470 per month left. That's $470 for everything else: retirement savings, emergency fund, going out with friends, dating, having any kind of life, medical copays, car repairs, anything that isn't survival. And that's assuming nothing breaks. Remember, the month her car needed new tires, she put $600 on a credit card. The month she got sick and hit her deductible, credit card, her dental cleaning, she skipped it. Her friend's wedding in another state, she said she couldn't get time off work. The truth is, she couldn't afford the flight. She's 24 years old, she did everything right, she has a degree and a job, and she's slowly drowning while everyone around her pretends this is normal. This is what they sold her. This is the dream. Let me show you what her life looks like over time because nobody talks about the long game. At 25, Alex is making those payments and living in that studio. At 28, her friends who became electricians or did coding boot camps are buying houses. She's still renting because she can't save for a down payment. At 31, they're getting married and having kids. She's still trying to figure out if she can afford to date seriously. At 35, they've got college funds started for their kids. She's still making payments on her own degree. At 43, she'll finally pay off her loans. She'll have spent 21 years, half her adult life, paying for 4 years of education. That's not an investment, that's an anchor, and here's where it gets worse. If you graduate with $80,000 in loans, which is completely common, your monthly payment is $909 for 10 years. Over the life of that loan, you pay back $109,000. You just paid $29,000 in interest alone. At $150,000 in debt, which happens if you went to grad school or a private university, the payment is $1,704 per month. On a $52,000 salary like Alex's, that's 50% of take-home income. Half your paycheck on debt you took on as a teenager. But let's zoom out because the individual debt is brutal, but it's not even the most devastating part. The truly soul-crushing thing is that costs have exploded while what you get for those costs has completely stagnated. This is where the math falls apart. Since 1980, college costs increased 155% in real terms, almost double everything else in the economy. In 1980, you could pay for a year at a public university working minimum wage over the summer. That same year now requires working full-time at $20 per hour for the entire year. The game changed, the advice didn't. Now let's talk about what you actually get for that money, because this is where the sales pitch crumbles. The big promise: college graduates earn 75% more over their lifetime. So it sounds great until you realize that average includes the MIT computer science grad making $150,000 at Google and the drama major making $38,000 serving coffee. Both are college graduates, both drag that average in opposite directions. The variance matters infinitely more than the average. Engineering graduates start strong at around $76,000. Computer science, about $80,000. But education majors start at $48,000. Psychology and arts, $46,000. Alex, with her marketing degree, the average starting salary is $54,000. She borrowed 6 figures to make what a manager at Panda Express makes. No offense to the manager, they actually have better orange chicken. But here's the statistic that should be on every college website, but obviously isn't. 28% of bachelor's degree programs deliver negative return on investment. 1 in 3 leave students financially worse off than if they'd started working at 18. 3 out of 10 students are enrolling in programs that will make them poorer. This isn't a bug, this is the system working exactly as designed to transfer wealth from students to institutions, and the variation is wild. A drama degree from USC, negative $540,000 lifetime ROI. You pay $500,000 to be worse off. A computer engineering degree from Princeton, positive $7 million. The spread is $7.5 million. That's generational wealth versus generational poverty, and you're making that choice at 17. But wait, there's more. 52% of college graduates are underemployed 1 year after graduation. They're working jobs that don't require their degree. Baristas with bachelor's degrees, retail workers with $60,000 in debt. 10 years later, and 45% are still underemployed. Of those who start underemployed, 73% never escape. Only 30% of 2025 graduates got full-time employment in their field. Criminal justice majors, 67% underemployment. Performing arts, 62%. These people did everything society told them to do, and the system shrugged. So let's talk about what Alex could have done instead, because this is the part that should haunt you. College doesn't just cost tuition, it costs 4 years of earning money. An 18-year-old working full-time makes $30,000 a year. Over 4 years, $120,000 in lost wages. Add the $95,000 Alex borrowed, and the real cost is $215,000. If she'd invested that in an index fund at 18, it would be worth $1.7 million by age 40. She's not just spending money, she's spending decades of compounding growth. If she traded potential millionaire status for a piece of paper and a payment plan, and those loan payments erase any advantage. On her $52,000 salary, Alex's $730 payment is 26% of take home. At $80,000 in loans, 31%. At $150,000 in loans, 50%. The entire wage premium gets eaten by servicing the debt. You're running on a treadmill that's tilted backwards. Now let's talk about why this happened, because understanding the system explains why it won't fix itself. 3 things broke higher education: administrative bloat, the amenities arms race, and federal student loans working exactly as designed. First, administrative bloat. Between 1993 and 2007, universities increased administrators by 39%. Teaching staff grew 18%. They hired bureaucrats twice as fast as teachers. Yale employs more administrators than it has students. Like, every one of those administrators gets paid from your tuition. They're not teaching Alex, they're justifying their own positions while she goes into debt. Second, the amenities arms race. LSU built a 536-foot lazy river shaped like LSU and funded it with a 20% student fee increase. Missouri spent $36 million on a rec complex with a lazy river inspired by the Playboy Mansion. USC spent $700 million on a neo-Gothic village. Who pays? You do. With debt. They're building resorts and calling it education. Third, and this is the big one, federal student loans. The government guarantees students can borrow unlimited amounts. When students can borrow unlimited money, universities face zero pressure to control costs. Research shows for every dollar of federal aid available, universities capture 55 to 65 cents through tuition increases. They're not educating you, they're harvesting subsidies. Universities are hedge funds with lecture halls attached. The system maximizes revenue for universities while transferring all risk to students, and it works perfectly. University endowments total $700 billion. Harvard's endowment alone, $56.9 billion. They could fund free tuition from investment returns. Instead, they charge $86,926 per year, more than median household income, because they can. Because the government guarantees your loans, because you'll sign. So what were Alex's alternatives? What could she have done instead of that $95,000 degree? Trade schools cost between $5,000 and $16,000 total. Electricians earn a median salary of $61,000, but master electricians easily clear $100,000. Elevator mechanics, their median pay is $102,000. And the best part, when they start earning at age 20, not 22. Or apprenticeships, you get paid to learn. Apprentices start at $18 per hour and finish at $32 per hour. Post-completion salaries, $70,000 to $77,000. Lifetime earnings premium, $300,000 over non-apprentices with zero debt. Only 0.3% of Americans do this versus 5 times that in Germany. We built a system that funnels everyone to college and treats alternatives like failure. Coding boot camps cost around $13,500. Graduates typically start around $65,000 to $70,000. It's not the instant 6 figures promised in 2021 anymore, but it's still a solid entry point for a fraction of the time. Even certifications offer crazy ROI if you hustle. Google career certificates cost $300. An AWS Solutions Architect certification can lead to salaries of $130,000 once you have experience. Even entry-level IT support roles start at $50,000 with zero college debt. The market values skills, not just the paper. The data is screaming at you. For many people, college isn't the best path or even a good path. It's an expensive gamble that doesn't pay off for roughly a third of people who take it, yet we push every 18-year-old toward it like it's the only option. But here's where it gets interesting. The job market is cracking. Over 25 states eliminated degree requirements from government jobs. Google, Apple, IBM, Walmart, Bank of America dropped degree requirements for huge portions of their workforce. Job postings requiring bachelor's degrees dropped 10% between 2022 and 2023. The credential is losing value while the cost keeps rising. But there's a catch. Despite all the announcements, actual hiring barely changed. Your Harvard Business School found fewer than 1 in 700 new hires benefited from dropped requirements. Companies announced it for PR, then kept hiring the same way. It's performative, for now. But the cracks are forming. So, what does this mean for you? Stop thinking about college as default. It's an expensive product that may not deliver returns. Before you sign for $200,000 and 4 years of your life, answer these honestly. What's the specific degree? What's the specific school? What does it cost? What do graduates actually earn? What percentage get jobs in field? How much debt will I have? Can I afford those payments on my likely salary? And critically, what else could I do with this money and time? If you're studying computer science or engineering at an affordable state school, the math probably works. Or if you're studying art history at a private university for $300,000, the math absolutely doesn't work unless you're wealthy, and treating college as consumption, not investment. The system persists because incentives are misaligned. Universities profit regardless of outcomes. Government guarantees unlimited borrowing. Employers use degrees as cheap filters. Students keep signing because they've been told since kindergarten they have no choice. That is college or failure. That questioning the system means you're not smart enough for it, but you have a choice. You can look at actual numbers instead of marketing. You can weigh cost against likely returns. You can consider alternatives that might leave you better off, and you can refuse to participate in a system designed to extract wealth while leaving you with decades of debt. Because here's what nobody wants to say, but I will. For probably 30 to 40% of people currently in college, they'd be better off leaving right now. Not finishing, leaving. The degree won't pay for itself. The debt will anchor them for decades. The opportunity cost is enormous, but they'll stay because admitting a mistake is harder than continuing to make it. College isn't a scam for everyone, but it absolutely is for millions who were told it was their only path and are now spending their prime earning years on payments for degrees that didn't deliver. The question isn't whether college can be valuable. It's whether the specific program at the specific price for your specific situation beats the alternatives. For a lot of people, it doesn't. So before you sign those loan documents, before you commit 4 years and 6 figures, before you believe the brochure with smiling students on perfect lawns, do the math. The real math, the brutal math, not the marketing math. Because 20 years from now, when Alex makes her final payment at 43, when she's finally free of debt from age 18, nobody from the university will call to check on her. Nobody will offer a refund because it didn't work. Nobody will apologize for selling a product that failed. They already got paid. Alex is still in that Target parking lot checking her account balance, trying to figure out if she can afford groceries. She did everything right. She got the degree. She got the job. She's making the payments, and she's drowning anyway. The system worked exactly as intended. The only question is whether you're going to be next.